Hi everyone, and welcome once again to our bi-weekly webinar series. With a strong aim that we have to dig into the real challenges which are faced by entrepreneurs, these sessions are all about finding smart, practical, doable solutions. Today's topic, one that really hits home hard for growing factories, that is, how can a mid-sized factory run like a giant without burning through a giant budget? And to show you what that looks like in action, I'm handing it over to someone who's worked hands on with factory owners just like you, Yashas, who's our senior functional consultant and business analyst at Pragmatic Techsoft. He's going to break this down not just with the what, but the actual hows with practical examples and smart strategies, and definitely will offer a lot more clarity. So, over to you, Yashas.
Thank you very much, Arva. Very good evening and a very good morning to one and all from the places you have joined. It's a great pleasure to meet the audience every 15 days and share this knowledge of how we can solve the problems in the industry. Or is there is there a feasible way where we can look into the problems of the industry and to look forward for solutions? So this week, as Arva rightly mentioned, we have chosen this particular topic where how a small and mid-sized factories, a small manufacturing units with people within 50 or with people of maximum size of 100 can operate like large giants, where we have understood that most of the small and mid-sized organizations still rely on manual processes and manual data keeping, where there is lack of transparency, lack of traceability, and a lack of ownership. With all this, it's a huge manual operations to run. So without having to worry about the efforts and the budgets, as we have put out rightly over here, without a heavy budget, we will look into possibilities and solutions to convert the small and mid-sized organizations to the larger ones, or to operate in a more digitized, more efficient, and more transparent form. So let's get on with the whole process. The first thing that we want to address is the question that might come to everyone: how many large scale industries are we how many small scale and mid size organizations are we looking forward, or how many are there around us? What is their capacity? Are they real? Do they really matter for us? So to answer all these questions, we have put out some statistics to start with. So the small and mid-size organizations put out to overall a 16 trillion this thing, that is income, and overall this thing, that is basically with respect to the GDP as well, to the whole overall, that is all across the world. And if I speak specific of India, where we come from, it accounts for 16.2% of the annual GDP every year. This is not large scale industries. These are very small scale. That is, you can think about 10 people putting up a small factory or a small place, in fact, and where they put out some kind of a processing. It could be some kind of discrete manufacturing or process manufacturing, some kind of food processing or anything like that. So, and then these account, most importantly, these kind of small scale and medium scale industries put together 50% of global manufacturing jobs. These are direct jobs of that is basically dependencies on the market. And also imagine about the relation of these industries with all the other things, that is with respect to like, for example, if I have a small organization of 50 people to 100 people, the dependency of that on, it could be on internet services, on it could be on food services, or it could be on travel services. These creates indirect jobs for many others. So imagine the large scale that we have of the small and medium sized industries. But the question is, are they enabled? Are they efficient? How transparent are they? How quick the owners can take decisions, or the entrepreneurs who runs these small scale and mid sized industries have readability, instant readability. So as I said, the most important aspect is we feel somewhere that these organizations are left out with respect to tech evolution. Most of them, with our research, what we know is they use most of them use registers or excels, or very small distributed systems, which we'll also talk about it in our later stages. uh, Coming to the impact, what impact do these small scale and mid-size organizations do? So basically, these are the hubs for innovation, because these are the industries where group of people, a small group of people put together, they give that unique skill to the market or to someone who is a larger vendor or a larger customer. And because of their agility, that is, they have a small team who can immediately switch to one process to another process and adapt to changes. Their agility makes them very dependable suppliers. That is, they give us on time, they give us good quality and in good numbers. That is also their throughput is good. So because of which they become more important, they become more prominent. And most importantly, as I said earlier as well, they sustain livelihoods across different urban and rural regions. It's not just direct employment, but the indirect employment that these organizations create has a lot of impact. uh, Now, coming to the agenda, we spoke about why it is important or whom are we targeting now. That is, which are the industries that we are looking for. Now, let's get into the real agenda of this webinar, where we first identify what are the root causes. When I say that, yes, there are so many large, medium, and small industries, but they are not tech evolved. What could be the reasons? Is it like they are not aware of it, or they have a little fear that will my team adapt to this? Will my team get along with this new this thing that is tech savvy features, or now the new age AI? Can my team pick up with this? Because we have a lot of people who were not even graduates. There can be all these thoughts and fear factors. So is this one of the factor leading for not getting onto the that is basically to the platform required platforms? And then we'll think about, okay, now, yes, if we have addressed these factors, are there possible features? Are there feasible solutions out there? Or what strategies should these small scale and medium scale industries should think about, which doesn't have to put out so much of budget, but what strategies they can come up with to make them more efficient? And finally, we also look into, are there any software tools which are readily available, which at least can cater to most of the requirements, if not all, so that their daily processes of traceability and getting the feedbacks, or it could be having multi-layered approvals and all these aspects, that is bringing the whole business, transforming their business into digitalization, how we can achieve this. So let's keep this as our agenda and let's move forward. To start with, as I said, what is really slowing an entrepreneur down, especially with respect to small and medium scale industries? Most importantly, as I said, we are speaking about manufacturing industries where the bill of material becomes the heart of it. That is, the recipe, or what they have in technical terms called as bill of material, is the crux of their whole business. Because that's also a trade secret with each and every company. They have their own bill of materials, but is it available in a digitized form? Is it available in a proper recorded form? Might not be. There can have the Excel, some even have registers to maintain this, and then immediate changes to it. Or what was the bill of material used a year ago, which gave this results? Nobody will be able to trace. Or even if they are able to trace with all the bookkeeping, it takes a lot of time. So immediate decision making becomes lengthier. That is, it becomes time consuming aspect. Extending the same, it becomes the same point, more of these manual works also involves using whiteboards, manual schedules, people getting confused, people getting mistaken because of the fatigue issues. Because again, I'm speaking about manufacturing industries where a lot of hard work, there are small scale industries, a lot of machines also will not be available, but human labor plays the most important part. So everywhere, because of all these aspects, they might end up missing the output targets. And then, because of the manual work and other things, no one person has the complete traceability of inventory. What is available in my stores, what is available off floor, or even if it's a small place where I'm having a business, how much of inventory is available right now? How should I plan it for the raw materials? Can I promise in this available facility? How much can I promise to the customers? So all these things. Now that we have come up a little digitized, yes, people might have turned from registers to WhatsApp, but still having multiple groups in WhatsApp and just communicating about all the everyday's collaboration and communication on WhatsApp doesn't improve our efficiency much. It is still maintaining like a register, just in a phone format or in a digitized format. It does not give us alt. At any point of time, it does not give us consolidated reporting or decision making aspects. We might have to scroll down all the WhatsApp images. The blame game starts. Not aligning each other with respect to task will all come in place. And finally, because multiple, if to run a factory, we to run a small organization at least with 50 people, we will be definitely having multiple departments. It could be with respect to our manufacturing, it could be inventory, that is stores, it could be maintenance if there are machines, there could be quality if there is strict quality mentioned, if there is purchase team and sales team, which all works together, and finally there is HR and accounting. So each one of them working in silos without having any clear knowledge, or without having a consolidated information of about how our whole organization works at once, will also slow down our entire business. If my manufacturing team wants a material and they depend on the inventory team or the shop floor team to send them messages, probably they have to wait till tomorrow to get an email or an Excel, getting to know what should I order or how much, because there is a lot of decision making over here. This can slow down the entire organization. So these are all real problems that we feel. And as I said, these might seem like smaller problems, minute problems, and these might also seem normal. Yes, this is what we see every day in our organizations. But these problems, in fact, if you analyze in a quantitative way, is actually what's slowing down the entire organization. That is scaling down the organization, in fact, or probably have managed only to keep it normal. I mean, only to keep in a steady way. But if I have to scale it big, what are the things that we need to look into is what we're going to look later in the webinar. Also, there can be fear in the entrepreneurs where the stemming from the same approach. That is, I have a small and mid-sized organization, probably a furniture manufacturing company. My quick question would be, can I really invest in this particular that is new age features? It could be a software, or it could be a ERP tool, or it could be exclusive manufacturing software or something like that, because they think about, is this a right tech for us? Is this my, I mean, because I have a food processing industry, or someone might have a wood cutting industry, or someone might have a packaging industry. So all these are small scale industries and medium scale industries. So the fear of, am I investing my time and money into the right tech? The questioning or the fear becomes the most important thing. Same with respect to the teams, having our own team. For example, I have a team, and the fear is, if I introduce a new system, or if I introduce a new process, will my team adjust to this? Will my turnaround times will be the same? Can I increase the efficiency? All these aspects comes into place. Will the adaptability of my team stays the same? Can they adapt good? Can they adapt better? Or will my productivity hampers because of introduction of a new system? All these are a fear which an entrepreneur usually have. And then comes, yes, I want a system. Okay, I have convinced that my team can put out with the system, but do I know much of the system, or how easy is the system to adapt? All these happens. And most importantly, in many places, a lot of things are completely manual, where it is like there is no solid process in place, where there is, for example, if I have to put out, in my manufacturing, for example, out of a process, instead of product A, I got a version of product B. Now what do I do with it? Can I sell it? Can I put it out in a different way? Should I scrap it? What if I have to scrap it, what should I put out in the first place? What should I record the output in the first place? How should I account it? So all of these things will not be having any approval mechanisms, or will not be having the knowledge of what to be done, or how it has to be recorded, so that these things do not happen in further instances. So all these fear, or all these lack of knowledge, also makes sure that we don't scale up. So quick thing what we want to say is, yes, we feel that, or the entrepreneurs might feel that this change is risky, but staying in the same condition is still more riskier, because we are not going out to grow, or we are not taking that risk to grow. So that we feel is more riskier than putting up in the new stuff. So going ahead, so what we feel is that now we understood what are the reasons. That is one way we understood that, okay, with the fear aspect, or with the tech aspect, yes, there is these are the challenges, but then what are the aspects, or what are these strategies that can enable a small or medium scale industry to scale larger? So the first thing what we say is the 5S method, where we feel to have these things in place for any particular manufacturing industry, which can make the things more efficient, that is, which can make the processes more efficient, or our productivity more efficient. Those are sort, set, shine, standardize, and sustain. Where having all the processes, clearly defining each one of these process, For example, if I have multi-layered work orders, if I have a product bill of material which is a multi-layer bomb, how do I set the whole process? How do I define the product nomenclature? What process has to be taken after what process? If there are any processes which have interdependencies, how do I make these things? So first is sort and then is set. That is, we clearly sort all the processes, then we set the actual methodologies, then we implement it using standardization techniques. It could be with respect to, we can have Kanban system, we can follow the this thing that is Kaizen method. There are a lot of methods which are available which we can use to standardize our things, and then we make sure that we shine in the whole system. That is, we bring in new things, and then we say that yes, we are putting out all the aspects. That is, we are making our productivity high with these changes. We are making so and so, that is, the lead time is less now. The lead time of manufacturing, or lead time for, that is, repair is less. So all these things we can do, and making this a continuous process, we improve. I mean, we get into that phase of sustainability where instead of a person running the process, it's the process runs on its own. That is, a standardized process is set where anybody can get into this, follow the rules and regulations, follow the processes, and get into the job and get the job done. So that is one of the things. Second is value stream mapping, where time, we identify where does my time and material is getting stuck. For example, tomorrow morning I have to do a manufacturing aspect. Do I have the material, or whom should I ask? What should be the lead time that I, for example, if next week I have to make sure that I have to do some manufacturing, what are the processes that I need to make sure, or I need to initiate, so that my material is available at the right time at the right moment, the machines are available at the right time at the right moment, and the work planning, that is basically the resources, or we can call it like the workflow, or the operators, or anybody who is available to do the actual job is readily available. Because this means a lot of planning should be in place. This plan should be available or visible to a lot of other stakeholders, like purchase, like inventory, like HR, because they, their functionality matters a lot in each one of these processes. So to make them visible, that is, to make sure our processes are visible to multiple stakeholders, is one of the most important thing. That is what we call as value stream mapping. And most importantly, cellular manufacturing, and making them as groups, to make sure the processes becomes faster, and also the lead times are cut short. It could be with respect to repairs, or it could be with respect to the material movement, or it could be with respect to material planning. So as we say, I mean, explaining all these process, what we want to emphasize is, we don't need a consulting army to just go lean. It's just a mind shift change. That is, with these strategies, I can make sure first I note down, or first I chart down all the processes. We set them, we sort them, and then we sort them first, and then we set them, make this process standardized. We might digitalize, we might not digitalize, but then we make sure these processes runs in an efficient manner, so that they become sustainable in the end. So these are the that is basically, we call it as the strategies. But then, how are these strategies available in a feasible manner? Like, for example, these are all methods, but are these methods available in a system through a software, so that we can get into it? So that is when we pitch in about Odoo. So Odoo is an ERP tool where all the processes are put out in a single system. It's a one roof solution, or a one stop solution for all the aspects of our organization. When I say all the aspects, to run an organization, starting from setting up an organization, to have all the features. That is, I have a purchase department, I have a manufacturing department, I have a sales department, I have a accounting department. With all these, I have a HR team, I have a marketing team. All these things set up, and their process is very well structured. So we can have one single system which is simple, powerful, and unified. So with respect to manufacturing, how is this Odoo system can help us? So let's look into each one of those aspects. With respect to the engineering industries, where there is a lot of this thing on product lifecycle management, Odoo offers a very good model called product lifecycle management, where we have all the engineering change orders in place. We define the BOMs, that is the bill of materials, where the design team or the tech team sits together, put out all their drawings. It could be especially with respect to metals, or with respect to wood industries, or any other design industries, where they draw these various diagrams. They pull out all the this things. design diagrams or take up individual product diagrams, and then they put out how a product should, the end product or a WIP product should be in place. What all processes should take up to give rise to this one product. So all this is called as the part of designing process, which can be put out in bill of materials. And based on different changes, these can go on for revisioning. That is, I had one single bill of material. Now with a different process, I want to make it a new one. I don't have to redefine the entire bill of material altogether. I can quickly take up a new engineering change order in the PLM module of Odoo. I can take up the existing BOM, make a new one, have a new version. Completely digitized, completely available. Who did the changes? What were the changes? What is the difference? And with the previous BOM and the new BOM, all these things will be available in one place. Then comes the very manufacturing itself. As we can go with the manufacturing engineerings. We have the we will put out the worksheets, and we have the routings. What do we mean by this? For example, what are the processes that has to happen with every manufacturing order? We call it a manufacturing order. For example, for any product to be produced or processed with a certain set of steps, we call it as one manufacturing order. That is, for example, internal, there will be something called as work orders, which can also be called as worksheets, and it follows certain steps. That is step 1, step 2, step 3. Now, for example, if I have to have a wooden door to be put out, first I have to cut the wood, then I have to make it, properly in different dimensions, and then we have to do polishing, then we have to finally put out all the hinges and other stuff, so the one complete door is ready. So for one manufacturing order, I can have multiple steps. So these routings, the worksheets, what has to be done, should I refer a particular item code or item diagram, all these things will be part of the worksheets. So that is part of the manufacturing engineering. And then comes the actual manufacturing, where we do the planning. That is the production head will put out the planning of what has to be manufactured when. Based on, it could be based on the make to order this thing, or could be based on make to stock. How I should plan my entire production. Which team should I inform so that they keep the raw materials ready, they keep the operators ready, they keep the machines ready. And then once all this is done, the moment the as and when the live manufacturing goes, if there are any hiccups or if there is any process change, how do I control all these things? How do I get the visibility? So all that with the control order, control panel. And as I mentioned earlier, we have the work orders concept, where individual processes within a large manufacturing order can be called as a work order, where individual operators take one or more operators takes into their responsibility to complete the process, the times that they record, the products that they consume, the processes that they do. All things can be recorded over here, digitalized again in one platform. Then comes with the very closely related to manufacturing is the quality. So as you know, there are quality that can be done, we call it as the in process quality, and also the post manufacturing quality. Can be pre manufacturing also. That is, before I get the materials, I first do a quality check. When I'm doing the manufacturing, I have to do a quality check, and once the manufacturing is completed, I have to do a quality check. These quality checks will can be or will be predefined with certain parameters to be checked. What if the material passes the all these parameters? What if the material does not pass does not clear this parameters? What should happen next? All these things, those are the alerts and control points. All the things can be, all are integrated, in fact, and all can be defined within the single module of quality, which is integrated with the manufacturing. Then comes the maintenance, again a very closely related module or the functionality, where manufacturing involves using of either manpower or the machines. For example, I can call group of machines, or I can individually call each machine as work center in Odoo, and we can plan which manufacturing machine already integrated and already available in the system of Odoo. And also, most importantly, with the manufacturing and the maintenance and quality, the most important aspect are the products. That is, we work on the products, we take the raw materials, we then make them as work in process material or work in progress material. WIPs is what we call. And then finally we put out the finished goods. That is FG. With this comes, how do I map my entire thing? Who gives, for example, I'm sorry, for if I have to manufacture the materials in my shop floor, Do I just go grab the materials wherever I want, or do I follow a channelized procedure where I ask the stores team to issue the materials based on my production plan for a week or for a day or for 15 days, and then I create a small supermarket or a bin concept where I put out all these materials required for the next week, and then I work continuously. How can these be digitized? How can these be more efficient, where everybody knows where the materials are, how much quantity they are, so that the procurement team and the inventory team can plan their procurement and the material movement. So all these things are part of the rules, the procurement, and the routes, and all of these are integrated with the manufacturing module. So when we say manufacturing, it's not just about the operators, the machines, and the processes. It's about an integration with the whole organization. I spoke about product lifecycle management, we spoke about quality, we spoke about maintenance, and then we spoke about procurement and inventory. Later, we are also going to see how my manufacturing process can even impact accounting, or should impact accounting. So that's is what to come in further. But then we'll also explore more into this thing. With all these strategies and with the software, what we are emphasizing is your entire factory becomes digitally connected. That is, all the modules with respect to procurement, with respect to accounting, with respect to manufacturing, quality, maintenance, everyone is talking to each other digitally, so that you don't have to depend more on, or you don't have to work with manual reporting or manual data entry every day, that is putting up on registers, checking the stock count, and all these aspects. Most importantly, as I said, most of the aspects, it could be with respect to other functions, could be field service, repairs, rentals, because all these are connected to manufacturing in one or the other way. For example, MPS stands for master production schedule, where very large organizations plan their entire month or entire year's manufacturing well in advance. Because they plan the raw, because there will be continuous flow of raw materials, there will be continuous outputs which is going on sales. So they have to very clearly plan all these aspects. With my manufacturing, there can be industries where we might have to have field service and repairs. That is, if we produce machines or products which comes back to us for repairs, or our team is going to the client's place and repairing the things which we produced. So that's where the field service and repair model comes up, which is also available in Odoo. And then we might bring machines which can be rented, or also our sub processes. For example, if I have a large manufacturing process within which one or two process can be given out for subcontracting, that is, I have a small subcontractor where I don't have the capacity or I don't have the technology, where I give one of my raw materials to a person who processes it in a different way and gives me the end product, which is considered as a WIP for me, that is a work in progress for me, which I'll take it further. There are a lot of scenarios like this where even the subcontracting process is available within Odoo. And then, as I said, the most important thing is this whole system of Odoo, which we are going to present with respect to manufacturing and the overall ERP, is customizable, and it fits for each and every industry depending on the nature of work. That is basically, as I said, it could be a plastic product manufacturing company, it could be wood product manufacturing company, or it could be a vitrified tile manufacturing company. So it fits for all. It's very flexible, very customizable. Based on the requirements, we can definitely go ahead and customize it. And then, as I said, with all these points, the most important thing, the ROI, if I would suggest, or if I have to take that word, is basically with this particular product and the strategies, we want to achieve the complete traceability and visibility. That is, starting from the procurement to the billing. We say that order to cash, procure to pay. So from procuring to consuming to WP production, the FG production, machines, and all these things, to the sales, how the whole thing is connected in one place. How is it not a distributed system, and how is it a integrated system, is what we want to achieve. And with that, as I said, with zero leakage of data, with zero leakage of information, and with better compliance. And finally, we want to say, with each workflow talking to, here we are aiming to make each workflow of purchase, manufacturing, accounts, sales, everything talk to each other in a digital format. Continuing further, the most important thing, with this aspects, with Odoo in place, with these strategies in place, we want to put out that it's a flow of bottom up innovation, is what we call. That is, starting from the operators themselves, the last people to do the manufacturing, or the people who actually does the manufacturing aspects. So if they start having the advantage of not putting up everything on a note or having to record everything digitized. It will improve their efficiency. That is, they get to know where is the material, what are the process that I need to follow, rather than going on checking for the files to put out, or losing the paper, or having to put out reports at the end of the week or end of the month to mention to their supervisors or the higher up, saying that these were all the tasks that were done, these were how many breakups that I mean breakdowns that we had, how many material inconsistencies that we had. So rather than doing that, we want to put out something, we want to mention something as from, rather than having that resistance, we want to give them ownership, where they'll be very happy to use these systems because their efficiency is going to increase. They have a very good clarity what has to be done, with whom I have to collect the material, which machine I have to get it for repair. uh, as I said, so with all these things, what we want to achieve is we can have more smarter and agile teams, and then we can get real time feedback. As I said, I'm going to explain that in my next couple of slides, how these things are put out in the system, because it's more of a theoretical explanation so far. But then what all things are possible in the system, what all options are available, what are features are available, so that what is actually the true income is that you're going to see from the manufacturing side, with respect to capturing all the processes or the functions. So, giving you guys the picturization of how it looks, or how the dashboards look, or how the processes look. So, what we say is we don't need bigger machines, but actually smarter moves. So, what you can see on the screen is basically there are a couple of processes where we have taken an example of coffee making, where you can take up a for example, on the screen, where there are multiple manufacturing orders, in fact 4 manufacturing orders running at a time. So it clearly shows the supervisor that these are the 4 orders that is going on right away, and what are the products, how much of the quantities that is running, what process each one of them have been completed, in which machine, in which particular person is using it. So all these, and what is the status of it, all that can be seen. For example, you can see the top 2 are in progress, that is the manufacturing processes are going on, manufacturing order number 24 and 26, where there are different products being manufactured, and both are in progress. And one order has completed the roasting, another one is still going on in grinding section, in the machine grinding section A, station A. The other process is completed, it is in the packaging line. But the remaining 2 orders, it's confirmed, that is the manufacturing order is confirmed, and they are in the first stage of this thing, that is it has to be taken up. So these are the this is just one example where a supervisor can have access, or the production head can have the access to get the data of what are the production orders that are running, instead of asking someone over an email or a phone call or a WhatsApp what is the status, which order is running, which product is running. Or rather, if the management themselves want to look into how is the process running, so they can simply don't have to depend on manual intervention or manual data. They can simply go ahead and check if in the system where what is happening in the shop floor. Continuing ahead, we spoke about the work orders, live work order tracking. That is, within a particular process, there can be sub processes, which can say, for example, I gave the furniture industry earlier, where we have to manufacture a table, kitchen table. For that, first we need to have the legs. That is, a table will have 4 to 5 legs depending on the design of the table, and then we have to assemble these. So who is going to start, which work center it is, that is, work center is machine or a group of people, and then what is the expected time, what is actually the real duration, when am I going to start, what is it depending on another task or something like that. All these things can be traced within the system. You can see over here, the start and end time has been marked in red as well, and the status is also available over here. When did I start, when did I complete, with the clear things. And if there is any problem, I can block the particular operation, mentioning that there is a problem. So these are a couple of things, examples. Again, going further, this is something called as master production schedule, where the production supervisor or the production head will plan for an entire week, or it could be even for an entire month, where we can put out what machine based on my demand, based on the capacity, how do I plan my manufacturing orders, which day what has to be taken up, which manufacturing orders will run, with the machine breakup, how much time this will consume. All that will be put out in one single charter, which usually will be put out in whiteboard markers, and using the whiteboards in any shop floor. But that can be put out completely in the system, without somebody has to messing up with the whiteboard, or somebody has to change the whole process. And then comes, we were also speaking about the PLM, that is the product life cycle management, where we call it as the engineering change orders, based on the shop floor feedback. That is basically, we maintain all these the product movements, or the I call it as a product journey. That is from the inception of the product to the delivery of the product. We follow certain methods. That is, we define a particular routing, and also with a specific bill of material. All that can be captured over here. What processes need to be done, which are in, for example, which products are in the still in the inception stage, which products are in the engineering stages, which product are now completely ready and effective, which can be released, or which are refused. All those can be put out. This is the product life cycle. That is a design team which will sit together and work towards giving rise to a new product. So those things can be captured in the PLM model. Another most important aspect with respect to manufacturing is, as I mentioned earlier, is the subcontracting process, where I can have a process within my manufacturing thing where I might have to give my few raw materials to the subcontractor, who will return back the material to me as a WIP, that is a work in progress material. So over here you can see on the left side where there is a purchase order number 65, where I'm giving it to my vendor. I'm sending a wheel and a frame for my subcontractor, and he will give me back the materials as a cycle. You can see over here in the other purchase order, I'm taking it from the this thing. We can have it in such a way that I need not supply the goods to my subcontractor. My vendor himself can put out, I can have another purchase order where my vendor, direct vendor, can provide these materials to my subcontractor. He'll complete the processing, and he finally gives me the work in progress materials. So these are all possible aspects where we call it as the drop shipping, and the subcontracting is available, and which is directly linked to the manufacturing order. That is, a manufacturing order can trigger these purchase orders completely based on how my process is, and all these possibilities can be put out in the digitized format in Odoo. So with all these things, what we want to emphasize is basically the whole process of distributed manufacturing can be captured within Odoo. It could be process manufacturing or discrete manufacturing processes can be captured within Odoo with the strategies and also the features. For example, one of the things where, imagine you have three warehouses, only with one warehouse acting as a manufacturing unit, the other two warehouses, or the stock keeping locations will be only for stock keeping purposes, where the three warehouses will be set up inside Odoo, and they put out in such a way that the routes work in such a way that manufacturing orders will trigger the material movement with all three warehouses. Everybody knows, okay, warehouse 1 needs a material for manufacturing, so it has to be shipped from warehouse 3, and that has to come to warehouse 2 for some small processing or something, and then it finally has to come to warehouse 1. All these automated flows, rather than depending on, I have to call the other person, have to inform, write an email asking for it, everything can be triggered automatically in the system, where those people also are on the this thing, that is in the system. They can look into how is the inventory and manufacturing talking to each other, what all things is required, and all these aspects, and if there is any procurement required, if there is any subcontracting required, all those things can be triggered from the system, which the people can use. So as I said, with all these features, what we want to mention is basically the real-time visibility changes with respect to manufacturing order, or with respect to whole the manufacturing process. Now, here we want to show one of the most important aspect is the bill of material, the concept of bill of material, where you can see on the screen there is one bill of material put up over there, which will give us the complete chain of the product. That is, for example, if I have to create a product called table, as shown in the picture, it has a sub BOM. It is not directly to be manufactured. It has a sub bill of material. That is, it has a child bill of material, which can have its own again a few more child bill of materials in place. So we have worked, in fact, couple of places where the bill of material is as good as 40, that is, it can have its own bill of materials 40 times. That is, it has 40 child bill of materials. Each one of them have to be manufactured or subcontracted, and then to make it final product, it takes 40 different steps. So all these are possible, and Odoo gives you very clear this thing of how should I record the bill of material, and also what are the operations that it takes, which route it, for example, it's also given over there, whether it is available, what route it should take, how much is the lead time, what will be the actual cost of these materials. All these are available in a digitized format. That's the most important part, where this can be accessible by the design team, manufacturing team, if need to be given access also to the inventory team, so that they are well aware of how the material availability is there. And the green and red colored things show you that whether the material is available, what time they can expect. So these are all standard alerts, very important alerts, so that the manufacturing team and the inventory team are aware of what is happening in the complete process of supply chain. And the most important thing with this, what we want to insist, or what we want to emphasize, is again, a small and medium sized industry should implement full or complete ERP, MRP or ERP. That is basically a foolproof solution where everything is digitized in the first place. Most importantly, the reports and other things, which I'll again explain in the later aspects, which will enhance couple of things. That is, one is, the first immediate win-win situation is basically the paperwork is reduced, the visibility is increased, and then comes all the other aspects. That is, we develop supplier collaboration models. That is, basically we have a good uh, purchase model in place, where we have bought in all the subcontracting process in place, the regular vendors dropship methodologies in place, so that we don't have to depend on emails, or we don't have to depend on paperwork. And then comes with manufacturing, the maintenance or the inventory. We also have continuous improvement with respect to the machine setup. That is, how do I get to know the OE of the machine, or how do I rate my machine, or how do I mean the machine performance, how do I be alert of whether my machine is going to break down or something like that, or how often should I actually conduct the maintenance. So all these things becomes available in a digitized format. And most importantly, going further, there are softwares, or there are tools, or there are possibilities where even we can integrate machines directly to talk to the Odoo or the ERP tools, where the machine clearly says this was the total runtime, this was the total output, that is the throughput, and this was all the other metrics, the consumption, it could be electric consumption, it's the raw material consumption, or it's the number of rotations that a rotor had, the amount of pressure it withheld. All these things can be available straight from the machine into the software ERP, rather than someone noting it down. So what we say is, you need not wait for any other the aspect, or you can start where you are and you can scale what that works for you. uh, Going further, again, I had spoken earlier about having an automation with respect to manufacturing and accounting as well. Where does this comes into picture? Now, for example, most of the places, in most of the aspects, especially with small and mid-sized industries, the production supervisors or the production team only worries about the products that they manufacture. They do not worry about what is the impact of this product. Impact in the sense, what is the costing of this product, or how much is the actual cost of this product. It's not just the cost of the product that is manufactured. How much is the expenses that I'm putting out with? It could be with respect to maintaining the machines, maintaining the operators, the breakdowns, the byproducts that we manufactured as wastage. All these things, if I run a machine for 1 hour late, or 1 hour longer, or if I consume additional raw material, or if I produce more scrap, what is all the implications on the products? So over here, with respect to Odoo's manufacturing, we clearly put out this aspect where the complete process is traced. That is, complete process is digitized, where each and every aspect, starting from what is the manufacturing order, what machine, which person, what is the process that is followed, how much time it was run, all these things will be available as a digitized format. And then comes, you can clearly see over here, for all the processes that I had, and for all the materials that I consumed, cost is incurred at each and every stage. So we don't have to wait for different departments or different people to give us the information about what is the consumption, what is the machine cost, or what is the machine number of hours that the machine run, how many people worked that day, skilled labor, unskilled labor, so that I have to arrive at a costing. Rather, with all these information, Odoo does it on its own. In fact, we can have it in such a way that Odoo posts automated accounting entries for every consumption and every production, in such a way that my P&L and balance sheet keeps getting updated on its own, rather than depending on days end inventory and then informing this to an accountant who is going to post manual entries in the backend. So all these are automated ways where even accounting becomes, because that's the heart of my whole system. That is, end of the day, what we value is, are we making good numbers? Are we running the business in a good manner, that is with profitability, or at least a breakthrough, so that we run this business in a sustainable manner? So uh, this particular product and this particular feature, what we want to emphasize is the whole supply chain becomes connected to accounting, so that it reduces the dependency of manual accounting entries, so that we don't have to depend on collecting all the information and then posting backdated entries and stuff like that. As I said, continuing further with the starting from the bill of material itself, the manufacturing up to the manufacturing order, it gives us a very clear this thing of what are the products that are consumed, what are the processes that are used, and are they available right now? How many are free to use? How many do I have in hand? So that it will give me a clear picture of what should I do next with respect to the material availability, because supply chain is the heart of the whole the manufacturing process as well. And then I said the subcontracting process, where we have the subcontractor along with the purchasing in place with respect to manufacturing. All these are automated, means a manufacturing order, especially if it's a make to order process, the process goes in such a way that the moment I create a sales order, it triggers a manufacturing order of its own, keeping in mind that the bill of material should be available for a particular product and the necessary route should be in place. And with this manufacturing order, if I have to procure afresh, a procurement order can also be triggered automatically. It could be a subcontracting order or it could be a regular purchase order. Till this level, starting from sales order to manufacturing order to procurement, all the aspects can be automated within the Odoo system. Now comes the most important aspect which we want to mention is, yes, I explained about these strategies, we showed you how Odoo works and all these aspects for manufacturing. Are there any good case studies that we can use of, or we can look into where it has helped grow the business? Where were they and where are they now? So we want to give you two examples. One is basically the standstill this thing. This is from US. And they have 70 plus users and they're using currently Odoo Online. They basically are asphalt manufacturers. So basically what they had before, before implementing Odoo, where were they or how did they feel? They used Sage CRM and they used Microsoft other tools with all the aspects. There was completely manual data entry across departments. It could be any departments. There were completely all the processes were manual. Most importantly, there was no visibility because of this manual process. For example, if I chair a meeting immediately and if I ask what is my material visibility, that is what is my stock on hand, people have to literally depend on other people and then they have to calculate all the things, and it takes time and effort to calculate, okay, what is my total available material, what should I produce, what should I order, what should I promise the client. All these things were completely manual. So because of this, it was a very complex life cycle, the plant life cycle, and there was all the processes were spread across spreadsheets, that is Excel. The most important thing is, which the projects and development manager says, we need more than CRM, we need a full ERP. That's what we also emphasize, where it's not just the manufacturing software, it is not just an accounting software, it's the whole ERP which should enable the organization to scale more, to grow more. So what changed after Odoo? So with Odoo being the single source of truth, every single process for them was put out into Odoo. That is, everything was digitized first, and then everything started to scale. That is, they could have better visibility, they could have a better communication in place, and because of this, they made sure there is zero data redundancy. There was no flaw, or there was no record which was maintained outside the system where they have to refer and then make decisions. And then most importantly, they designed their whole route in such a way that the shop floor gets the most important aspect, and they could customize on their own. They need a new process, they need couple of new information which is all on top of what Odoo provides. So that is what they added using the Odoo Studio model. And then the most important thing what they feel is the collaboration. That is, all the departments started interacting with each other with using Odoo's internal features. That is, we have something called as discuss module, where you don't have to depend on email, you don't have to depend on WhatsApp. There is log notes in each and every transaction. You can attach you can put out real documents into Odoo. Design team can prepare a document and attach it for the manufacturing people. Purchase team can attach the quality document given by the vendor to the bill of material, so that they have the quality certificate in place. So all these things made sure that there is faster support, there is reduced paper clutter and all these aspects, and most importantly the manual communication reduced. So this is what happens when there is complete digitization of the whole process. And most importantly, as I said, the mid-sized factories succeed not just by buying better tools, but by enabling smarter teams. That is, they have a good team, but are they having any good smart tools in place to make their work more efficient? Is what we are always question. And then, as I said, if they could do, you any organization they can definitely do. So standstill story is basically a proof of a digital transformation where they did not start their whole factory from scratch, but they just changed their mindset and they adapted to the new ERP where it changed everything for them. We want to also put out that is, as I said, finally concluding this particular one of the uh, case study where it is basically they were using Sage and Access with all the Microsoft tools, but then they came to Odoo. They were putting up all the manual entries, but then they automated all these aspects. They were using paper files. Now everything is digitized. Anybody who has the access can access the information in one go. And most importantly, the bottlenecks with each and every communication. Did I get the email? Did I receive the approval? Did I have the things in place? They didn't have to worry on that because system did most of the job. So it prompted them to have better information and automated most of the flow so that people can take better decisions. So we want to take up another aspect where this is basically from Georgia, where they were into vehicle sales and after sales. For them, again, the challenge was most importantly, each and every department had different systems. They were already digitized, but they were using different systems. Logistics was using a different system, sales was using a different system, the repairs and rentals were using a different system. There was no, again, even though they were digitized, it was not one platform. Again, they had to depend on manual emails or the communication over other channels. So because of this, the turnaround this thing, that is the we call it the TAT, that is the turnaround time for any particular after sales query to be answered, or for example a sales, how it turns out, took a lot of time for them. But then the most important thing is again implementing Odoo for them, which unified their all processes. That is basically they were having no information or paper information with respect to how the customer requests are coming up, what model of vehicle that they're asking, all these aspects. They did not even know which vehicles are available or did the vehicle come in for the repair and all these aspects, because everything was maintained in manual. That is, they had to depend on people rather than depending on the system. But then after Odoo, with all the things again integrated, they were able to put out the customer complaints or the after sales also into Odoo. They integrated the repair model, which is again very closely connected to the manufacturing model and also the maintenance model. So they had unified workflows. They were having help desk also at the same time, where they could have raised tickets and from the customers, and they could give them the lead time of this is how, or this is where the process is right now. You can expect the results within so and so time, and so people are putting up your, they have taken up your task, and finally we have given the invoice. All this communication was basically integrated. So as I said, a right ERP can mold the whole business process in such a way that the business can become scalable and sustainable. And the most important aspect, as I said, the what changes the smart ops is basically the live production and costing. These are all, I can say, the summary of this whole aspect. That is the manufacturing. Digitalizing the manufacturing, the processes is basically we want to bring out the live production activities, give the visibility to all the people, especially the manufacturing team and the inventory team, along with having the right costing methods in place, costing visibility in place, and then zero wastage, real-time WAP monitoring, and most importantly for all the processes, a right routings and routes, and also the approval mechanisms, and finally the integration with respect to repair, with respect to PLM, with respect to quality, procurement, and inventory. So we say that any organization should replace chaos with clarity in each and every workflow. As I said, the 5S methods, where we can make sure the processes are streamlined and also enabled with the system, will have the best strategy in place. And the most important thing, the one thing which we did not answer over here is, yes, we defined all the process, we defined the strategies. Now, what do I do with all the reports? Because most of the time, the time invested by our team members, especially with respect to reporting, is manual. They put out all the Excels, they put out some KPIs, they put out they even make some graph the bar charts, the pie charts. They make it more visual so that they present the data in the more accurate manner. But what if these reports can be automated? That is, you do all the transactions, you capture the necessary data, you record the proper masters, you put out the proper transactions, and then Odoo does it for the whole team. That is, it could be with respect to any report. So let's see a couple of the reports. As I can show you the manufacturing order reports with all the different the methodologies. That is, I can have a bar chart, I can have a pie chart, and then with different colors mentioning what are the different types of products manufactured, which customers it was sold to, how much time the each manufacturing order took to complete the processing. All these things will be available in Odoo itself. So with all this, what we say is, as I said, we have a right data, we put out certain action, that is the right action in place, we improvise continuously, and finally we make it the whole organization in a better place. That is, we scale the whole things. So here we are at the end of the webinar. I hope this webinar was helpful with respect to how we can digitize and how we can improve the efficiency of a small and mid-sized manufacturing industry. Thank you. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask.